What's up, Kings? It's your boy Dan from Daft Previews, and I'm back. I've got another two player props coming for you. I've got two leans as well, which I'm happy to discuss. Before we get into it, I do feel like the shittest capper on YouTube right now, and I know that's not true. There's a lot of people worse than I am, and I know for the season things are going well, but these last 2 days have been tough. But stick around for the recap, and you can hear me cry about the losses from the previous day. But let's get straight into it. My very first pick, I like Jayson Tatum over 28.5 points. Now, JT's covered this line in 15 of 32 games this season. He's averaging 27.1 points per game. It is down on last season's average, but the Celtics, they do have more weapons at their disposal this year, which allows Tatum to pick and choose when to push that go button instead of just going all the time. His recent form, it's not as horny as I would like it to be, but it's pretty up and down all season. So I'd have to wait for an injury to a Celtics player or the right matchup to come along before I even consider taking him. And today is that day. He's up against the Indiana Pacers, who allow the most points to power forwards by a mile this year. I didn't even have to check stats before putting this pick together to know that. He's also feasted on this team for quite some time. Check this out. Here's a screenshot of his points totals in the last 5 games against the Indiana Pacers. Now, do you notice that? This graph is greener than Lucky the Leprechaun's balls, and I'm hoping it stays that way so we can get more green in our pockets. Now, Tatum's averaging 33.6 points per game in these matchups, and this should continue as the Pacers defend the way they do by design. They allow the most points in the paint by a long margin, but they also allow the least three-pointers made. Analytically, that could be their strategy. I know Rick Carlisle is big on advanced analytics, but who gives a shit? The truth is that the Pacers are happy to play this run-and-gun style, which lends to a shit ton of points to anyone in the opposing team who likes to attack the rack. Now, Tatum, he's the number one rack attacking player in the Celtics lineup on a back-to-back, but he's only played 25 minutes, and he's got a consistent history of ripping this team to shreds. I'm going to ride Tatum on this one, and if you're considering riding him too, I'll make sure he's wearing protection. So let's go, JT. Let's get it. Our next pick just happens to be in the very same game. I like Tyrese Haliburton, over 37.5 points, rebounds, and assists. Now, Tyrese Haliburton has covered this line in 18 of 31 games this season, averaging 41.4 points, rebounds, and assists. His recent form has been excellent. He's covered this line in 6 of his last 10 games, averaging 40 PRA in that span. From the 4 games where he went under, he played less than 32 minutes in 3 of them. Just like Tatum, he is on a back-to-back, although he only played 25 minutes in a blowout against the Hawks, and he recorded 36 points, rebounds, and assists in that game. So my man's looking good. They've only played the Boston Celtics once this year, but Hallie was an absolute beast in that game, recording 26 points, 10 rebounds, and 13 assists in 40 minutes, good for 49 PRA. Now, I don't expect that level of production here, but the Boston Celtics, they struggle to slow down point guards despite the addition of Drew Holiday this season. Against elite point guards, we've seen SGA, he recorded 49 points, rebounds, and assists. His average this season is 41.5. Schroeder, 26 points, rebounds, and assists. He averages 23 this season. Cade Cunningham, he racked up 46 PRA, and he only averages 35. We saw an aging Steph Curry put up 42 PRA, and he only averages 36. Those are all recent games in the last couple of weeks. Now, I like to use Trae Young as a measuring stick whenever I put a Tyrese Haliburton prop on. Earlier this season, Trae went off for 45 points, rebounds, and assists, and so far in the year, he's averaging 42. So the Boston Celtics, they're no stranger to having elite point guards rack up the stats on them, and I'm hoping this trend continues for the point guard 2.0 Tyrese Haliburton tonight. Let's go. Before I jump into the leans that I have, let's go over our comment of the day. So I want to give a shout out to Serve5000. He said, awesome content. These prop bets help build the bankroll slowly, but that's a good thing. Time to get the green. And absolutely, it is the time to get it. But I love that comment because it's a good reminder for everybody watching this that you've got to play singles. It's the best way to do it if you want long-term profit. You need to be steady over time. All the same game parlays and multis, they are fun, don't get me wrong, but shit, I've been doing them over the last week to try to warm up an account, and man, it's been painful. I think I'm like 3 from 18. I'm still profitable, but that is painfully frustrating to get so close so often and then lose. It gives you this false sense of security that you're going to get the next one. Reality is you probably won't. So these single bets are the best way to do it. Follow a proper staking method. I obviously put a lot more than I would on a single bet than I would on a same game parlay or multi. But it's a good reminder for everybody out there. If you are in the betting and you're doing this to be profitable in the long run, your single bets are probably the safest way to do it. So great comment there, Sir 5000. Thank you so much for posting. Now let's jump into some of my leans for tomorrow's games. I have two. So one was Fred VanVleet. I was considering over 26.5 points and assists. His previous form against the Bucks is absolutely excellent. Like, it gets me rock hard. He's covered it in 4 straight games, absolutely blitzing this line. The problem is a lot of those games were when he was in the Raptors. He has versus the Bucks once this season. He did have 28 points and assists, but it's a lot lower than what we did see when he was in Toronto. So, look, I can see him going off for a 20-10 game against them, but I did look into his numbers, and for the most part, a lot of the games he goes well under. So, if anything, the line may be a bit high, but the matchup is good. The Bucks don't defend point guards very well whatsoever. So, that's a lean for now. I'll see how I feel when I reassess it in the morning. And then the other one was Benedict Mathurin over 12.5 points. It is a home game for the Pacers. We know that role players do step up. He actually has a very high rate of shots attempted per minute played. So regardless of if he gets 20 minutes at least, I think he'll take enough shots to cover this 12.5 points. His recent form's been really good as well. I'm most likely going to play that, but again, I'll give it some time before I make that decision. So those are my two leans at the moment. There's not many markets up in the other games. Giannis has hurt my feelings a little bit after taking the other day, so didn't want to look at Giannis. And a lot of the other guys in this Pacers and Bucks game, I didn't spend too much time looking at, to be honest. I already knew in my mind Tatum's definitely a pick and Haliburton's a pick, purely because, look, the Celtics don't defend point guards very well, and the Pacers do not defend power forwards whatsoever. So it felt pretty obvious to me, but is it too obvious? When things are too obvious, they tend to blow up and shit all over my face, but only time will tell. We're hoping to end this losing run today. Let's do a recap so we can talk about this losing run that I've been on. We took 3 plays yesterday. The Knicks of 2023. Julius Randle and Jalen Brunson. I had this script together in my mind about how that game would go, and it was the complete opposite. So Brunson covered his points line, Randle covered his assist line, and they somehow beat the 76ers by 20, 30 points. It was absolutely ridiculous. None of it made sense to me, but we lost. There would have been something in the data that I may have missed, so that's on me. So that's a bad pick. I have to get back in the lab and do some thorough research before touching those guys again. And then we had RJ Barrett over 4.5 rebounds. I think he had 3 rebounds in the first quarter. He had 9 points too. So I thought he's heavily involved. This bet should cook pretty easily. And then as the game went on, he got worse. He bricked a lot of shots. He got like 2 rebounds, but at the same, when he got those rebounds, there were fouls called. So a lot of the time he wasn't credited for him. And then in the fourth quarter, he didn't get any minutes. The Raptors were coming back without him in the lineup, and they were playing. Look, I'll be honest, I was watching that game. They were playing better when he wasn't there, so I don't blame the coach. I guess that's just another bad pick on my behalf. But look, on the season, we're at 47.9 units profit, so we're still looking pretty good. If you take a look at the graph, you can see that, the last 2 days have been pretty poor. But if you look at the graph, we've been here before. We can't always be going up. It does go up and down. It's all about having a longer winning streak than that losing streak. And then at the end of the day, we'll be laughing. So tough patch for us at the moment, but I'm quietly confident we'll get out of it. I guess the best bet is you find you get put to the test depending on how you respond to when you lose. So I'd take accountability for putting the bad picks up. I did my thorough research, but look, it didn't work out the way I wanted to. My processes won't change. The content will keep coming, and I'm confident we'll be laughing to the bank at some point soon. So if you did make it this far in the video, I do thank you. I appreciate you for watching. As always, like the video, sub if you haven't, drop some comments in, watch it all the way to the end so I get more watch time, so YouTube starts to give me some more love. But I'll see you guys in the next one. You stay safe out there. Ta-ta.
Sub to the channel cause your boy's getting busy. Coming to you live from the west side of Sydney. We've got the free picks and the juice on the daily. It's all free, you don't even have to pay me.